everybody, welcome back to the channel. More Blood and Plunder as we work our way through the remaining Native American factions in Raise the Black. So before we get into today's specific one, there's some general information that we got to keep in mind for the natives in this expansion. So they basically all come with a set of special rules that supersede any faction-specific stuff in general, although some of the faction rules, again, might come back and actually alter this. But some general rules that we have to abide by, let's put it that way. So we can't include any artillery or ships of size 2 or larger. That just makes sense. And then if we are the attacker in a scenario, we can actually deploy half of our units, rounding down, with the lay in wait scenario rule. Basically just emphasizing that ambush style. Pretty cool. Any ship in the force does gain paddles for free, essentially the paddles trait. And then when a shooting attack is declared against any unit in this force that is not prone, before the attack is rolled, the targeted unit gets a -1 bonus to its shoot saves for that attack, and afterwards we go prone. So it's a pretty cool just defensive feature that, you know, when you get that force wide, right, that can really be quite useful in a lot of situations. And then finally, all units in this force, though, gain the poorly equipped and Warcry special rules. So we've covered that previously in our Creek video. But the Creek actually are interesting, and we covered that again in their video, but they actually negate poorly equipped, and then they still get Warcry, which is pretty cool for close combat. But today, we're actually going over to the Chickasaw. So again, everything here in this book and the expansion is 1700 to 1730, roughly. So, that being said, again, all these native lists are pretty compact, so it won't be an overly long video. Again, we're trying to keep these pretty tight and just a quick overview. So they have a couple of force special rules, a small selection of units, and then basically the commander choices. So, and it's pretty cut and dry with these guys. So, in addition to all of the above, they do get a +1 when determining the attacker in a scenario. And again, that'll help us then when we are the attacker, we have the lay in wait rule if we want to take up to half our forces doing that. But not as aggressive as some of the other forces out there. We've seen +2, +3, and even a +4, I think, at one point. So just a +1, but hey, anything helps to either be better than the opponent's roll, ideally, or negate some of their advantages that they might have too. We also gain well-equipped, so that's pretty cool. So we get to negate the poorly equipped, and then we get to the quick special rules, which again will help us maneuver around and really get to the points where we need to. The commander will also gain careful planning, so we have that as another boon there. So really, we're negating one of the downsides and gaining 2 special rules for the force. Pretty cool stuff there. We have our unit selection pretty balanced between core and support, Braves and Nises, and then Warriors and Young Braves, so a good selection of forces there. And the commanders, as we would expect, would be the standard natives, and then red and white chiefs, or let's get this right, Oboistabi, if we're going correct on that. So, all in all, some good basic choices, but a nice simple list. And then just to highlight for folks who don't have the rules handy, quick is pretty interesting. So if the unit is activated with a spade and we're not engaged in a melee combat, we can at any point during the activation take a free move action. So depending on what you need to accomplish for that, and again, all units get this, which is really nice because you can really just abuse that ability. But basically, if you're in cover, you could pop out, take a shot, for example, take your, with an action, then take your free move to move back into cover. All kinds of different uses with that. That's just a quick, simple one. But again, we could use that free move to get into better range, certainly just in general, or, you know, back out of range or get towards an objective, get into just actual cover for the main purpose of the moving or relocating, or again, just get us into more advantageous positions. But we'll take free actions all day long in this game, with the caveat that we have to have a spade to activate off of. But that's all units in the force, guys, and there's no limitations otherwise on that. Some factions have some little extra quirks, but yeah, we just get that. Now, the other one, we haven't seen too much of it out there, but careful planning is an interesting one for the commander, and again, the commander gains it. So now the interesting thing would be to see, again, correct us in the comments or not, if the special characters also gain that. Here it just says the commander, so it doesn't specify if it has to be a generic one or not. But one enemy force, so one enemy force must deploy half their units rounded down before the commander's force deploys any. So you're basically getting some intel on the opponent. They have to kind of reveal a bit of their game plan in the sense of what they're putting down before you do. So that gives you an idea of what they've brought and how they plan on using it, and maybe forcing them to kind of give you that information that you need on how they're going to deploy, what their plan is or their strategy for the particular game or mission or scenario, whatever you're playing. So all in all, pretty good stuff here. There's really no downsides in the list. I mean, you could say, hey, we would want maybe some other units selection out there, but this is just a nice compact little list. Again, we negate the downside of poorly equipped, and don't forget we do still have Warcry, so that's going to help us with getting into close combat as well. So all in all, pretty powerful little list. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you've played Chickasaw Force or played against it and how those games have gone. Eager to hear stories on that. Hit us up in the comments, like and subscribe, and we'll have more Blood and Plunder for you soon.